Sunita Williams, non-Indian astronaut, is back to Earth after 9 months.
Like if I were in space, dude, I would lose it. I'm not an emotionally stable person at all. And without Instagram, who would I need to rant. Like I would just die.
Orry was booked for consuming non-vegetarian food and alcohol in Vaishno Devi.
Like if you want to punish someone, think of a better punishment is my take on this.
Dhanashree-Chahal wore a t-shirt that said
Be your own sugar daddy.
Be your own sugar daddy. I just think it's so interesting that so many people have chosen to come out in support of him. And I hope he realizes that these are not real fans. These are like fans of misogyny. Urban Company rolled out a service to be able to hire domestic workers within 15 minutes.
So I'm like, what kind of culture is this? Where something as basic as cooking for yourself is something you can't meet. Like it's like, oh my god, like I have so much work. Why do you have so much work?
So that's my rose.
That's
that
really
my
cute.
cats love me now.
If this video hits 1 million views, we'll get Kevin's cats on the podcast.
Wow.
And we'll give them a mic.
You'll have to shoot in my house because they don't leave the
fine.
house.
Just bring it to 500k. That's
Okay,
all we
cool.
ask.
Yeah, nice. Good appeal. Hello and welcome back to another episode of So What. This is a special episode because if you would have noticed, there's one person missing from here who's always been here. He's not dead or anything. He's just on break for a bit.
We don't know. We haven't checked our phones.
That's true. But I feel like it's pretty safe to assume that he's okay. But Nikhil is on break. He won't be joining us this week and maybe for another few weeks. So this podcast could be done in anywhere between 5 to 30 minutes. Or depending on how much sense we make. So we're joined by Garima, first employee of Yuva. She's Gen Z in chief at Yuva at large, and she's also an award-winning writer.
You know.
She tells me
how
every
much
time to
money
not
will you
mention.
take to
From
like shut
Filmfare.
up about that?
Oh,
From me.
we'll talk about it. I'm open to negotiation. Garima, first of all, how are you feeling? And before we get into your Rose and Thorn, how are you feeling about doing this episode without Nikhil?
Stressed.
Why?
Very, very stressed. Because I'm getting a lot of feedback that I'm a lot of fun, but what people don't realize is that I'm fun because there are two people who are making sense on the podcast, and all I have to do is just roll my eyes, give reactions, laugh, and just disagree with like one small sentence. I don't really have to do much, you know. But today there's a lot of pressure to make sense. And
You have to be the nuanced one with monologues.
No, you have
and
to
I have to be the funny one, apparently.
No, you.
That's what Nikhil said.
I don't care what Nikhil said. He's not my boss.
Oh, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Makes one of us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But before we get to what happened this week, Garima, how are you feeling? What is one good thing or one thing that you're happy about and one thing that you're annoyed about?
And I have to remember to ask you also.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll answer. It's fine. Yeah.
So my rose this week is that my sister has gone for recce. She's out of town, and every time
You
my
hate her
sister
that much. Yeah.
just setting context, dude.
Sorry, Sneh. Yeah.
So every time she goes out, I take that time to just deep clean the room because I love cleaning, and like I know for at least 2 days nobody's gonna touch. I'm very I can't say OCD about it because I also know that that's not what OCD means actually. Like
Good
I
save.
recently learned that that's not what OCD is. OCD is basically intrusive thoughts. OCD is not. Yeah, OCD is just like if
the
you
disorder, obsessive
disorder,
compulsive
yeah.
disorder.
is when you have like so many intrusive thoughts that you can't that you have
Focus.
to they overwhelm you, the intrusive
But it's
thoughts.
not always to do with like
It's actually
cleanliness
it's got
or-
nothing to do with cleanliness.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
Coming back to my rose,
Yeah.
I just cleaned the whole room and it's looking very good, but she's landing today in a couple. She's actually landed, so she's so yeah, bye cleanliness.
Does she get upset when you've cleaned or she's happy only?
She's cleanliness agnostic. She
she
doesn't care. Yeah.
Okay, but you are very happy.
But she gets annoyed if I start lecturing her about something. Of course.
Okay.
Nobody likes lectures.
So your rose is the fact that she was gone and you could clean.
I could clean is yeah. I sound a lot like my mom, you know, every time she's like, oh, everyone leave the house because I want to clean the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe that's where you're getting it from.
Yeah, definitely
Awesome.
that's where I'm getting it from.
We'll get into therapy later. Yeah.
I'm already in therapy, dude. I don't have to get into therapy later. My Thorn, okay.
What
Thorn,
happened?
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my Thorn, I was struggling to pick a Thorn. Should I say something casual like, oh, Nikhil isn't there and I'll have to kind of make sense on today's podcast? But I think one thorn which is very, very obvious, very prevalent is the fact that, Israel has broken the ceasefire. Would you call it broken the ceasefire? But like sort of broken the ceasefire deal again, and the attacks have begun again. And that's like, I mean, I don't want to say it's taking a toll on my mental health because I'm nobody in this scenario, but it's just heart-wrenching to watch the videos all over again. And yeah, I mean, obviously we knew, even when the ceasefire had stopped, we knew that it's not something that's going to, it's not going to be okay immediately. And we knew it's going to take like years to kind of fix the damage. But I mean, even that hope is sort of gone now. So I'm just really upset about, I don't know. I'm just, I don't know if I can say if I'm really upset, but it's really upsetting in general
it's fine.
to see.
It's something that's going on in the world and you are obviously consuming some content around it, and it's okay.
I think what's upsetting me is that like I just the helplessness with which we are sitting here, like can't do anything about it. It's really bothering me.
But it's just so weird that one man can simultaneously come in and have this kind of impact across things. Like, isn't the system supposed to do better to ensure that one person can't cause this much harm? Because so much of it, you look at Ukraine, Russia, you look at Israel, it's just like...
I mean, why go that far? What's happening in our own country? There are, after the film Chhawa came out, there have been riots in Nagpur. It's, I don't know, like opening the news for just 15 minutes is like really depressing. So,
Right. I can't complain about
I got
privileged things anymore. Last week my thorn was about...
It's fine.
No.
I just say, you should keep it real. Like, some weeks it'll just be something bothering you on a personal level, and some weeks it's just like, the news is bothering me.
Yeah. So. No, it's fair. So my rose is something that's like very, very small, close to home. As you know, and we've been talking on Instagram about it. Radhika, my wife, had 2 cats before we got married. They're about 7 to 8 years old now. Both of them are rescues. And they've been living with us this year. So we moved them in Jan. And initially she was a little bit worried about how affectionate they would be with me because they're shy cats. They're not very, very friendly. But now they live with us. And now I think I'm elevating. I've been promoted from secondary human to like co-first human.
Wow.
Because I got back from Delhi and they were very, very affectionate to me. And Radhika was in fact saying that for the 2 days I wasn't there, they were like upset with her because I was not around, which I'm happy with. I think part of it has to do with the fact that the cats are both female.
I feel like men have a way with cats. Even male cats tend to gravitate towards men, I feel. And I hate that. Like, one more reason to hate men.
Sorry.
It's just like, because I feel like women are just like, ooh, like, cat, come here, you're so cute. And men are just like sitting. And then cats like that energy more. Like, don't like tell me what to do. Like, for calling me, I'm not going to come. But
yeah, you have to be aloof. It's the same strategy actually that has worked for Radhika's cats and Radhika with me. Like, the minute I started getting aloof, affection has come. We might edit this
dating
part out,
tips.
But,
take notes.
Don't take notes for sure.
If this video hits 1 million views, or maybe that's too much, 500k views.
Then I thought you were going to say 500 after 1 million.
500k views. We'll get Kevin's cats on the podcast.
Wow.
And we'll give them a mic.
You'll have to shoot at my house because they don't leave the house.
It's fine. Just bring it to 500k. That's all we ask.
Yeah, nice. Good appeal. Yeah, well done.
Thorn.
What is my thorn? Okay, fine. I'll take the space and leave. I've been traveling a lot and my sleep is really, really bad now. And like, I've been trying, as we've talked about on this podcast, to have some sort of a routine where I'm trying to eat healthy, I'm trying to work out. And every time you travel, it's so hard to get back into that.
Yeah.
I'm counting now. The flight back yesterday was my 16th flight of the year.
What?
Yeah. My 16th flight of the year. Yeah.
It's just March.
Yeah, I know. It's been a lot of travel. It's all good stuff. That's what.
It's work related.
No. This was my first work trip actually. It's all been like weddings or like birthday travel. It's been fun stuff only. But at this point, I'm a bit tired.
Of course.
Yeah. So that is my thorn. Cool. So what happened this week? Lots of things which we want to talk about. We didn't feel like there's one thing that's important enough for us to do a deep dive in. We chose 5 things.
Or we are just not skilled enough for 15-minute monologues.
Yeah, maybe. If only we had somebody on this podcast who was good at that. I don't know if
you're insulting Nikhil or praising him.
Even it's a safe zone when you don't know. Yeah. It's a plausible deniability. No. Like, bro, I was just saying it.
Yeah, we meant that you carry the weight.
He does,
He
yeah.
does.
He carries the intellectual heft of the podcast. Is
He does.
Nikhil. Yeah. Okay, so in the absence of Nikhil, hence there is no intellectual heft. So we're doing.
Let's just do.
Yeah, it is Jaldi 5. It's quick takes on 5 things that have happened. We've written them down. So I'll ask you first and then you tell me your reaction and then I'll tell you my reaction.
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
And we'll try to spend like 5 to 10 minutes on each
Don't give
thing.
me a time limit.
Okay, no time limit.
I must say this on camera.
Yeah.
though. Kevin and I have this problem where when we used to work together, we used to be like, oh, I need to talk to you about something. Can we get on a call for 5 minutes? And then cut to 3 hours later. We're like, oh, it's been 3 hours.
Always.
Let's just,
Yeah.
let's get back to our jobs. We're doing this on
It's
company
fun
time.
times. I miss working with you, Garima. It was always
Same,
like
I
fun.
miss
Yeah.
working.
Okay. On that note, I
Yeah.
forgot what order we decided, so now it's going with it. We said we'll do fun things
Fun
first.
things first.
Okay, so first thing that happened this week, Orry, our favorite influencer, because he liked a reel that we put out. Maybe.
Yeah.
The-
This is strange actually because my dad can see that Orry liked one of our reels and he sent me a screenshot also. But neither Kevin nor I can.
Yeah, when we
actually,
search for it, we can't
we
find
can't
his
find.
name.
So, Orry, tell us.
Yeah.
Have you liked that? Are
I
you
mean,
liking
I feel like
a podcast, Orry?
I think
Go
he's dealing with some stuff right now, which is why we are talking about him. That's not the primary reason. So as
Admit
you
your
no
love for
doubt
us.
know, because this was also like Arnab Goswami has discussed this, so now obviously the nation knows. Orry was booked for consuming non-vegetarian food and alcohol in Vaishno Devi when he was in Kashmir. Apparently there's a 2-kilometer radius, which is a space where you're not allowed to consume either non-vegetarian or alcohol. What's your
He's-
reaction?
People are saying that he should be banned from the place, and my first reaction to that was he must be thinking, yeah, sure, like this is not where my party place is at, like I'm not coming back. It's fine. So I don't think that's like if you want to punish someone, think of a better punishment, is my take on this. No, but my actual take on this.
What's your actual take?
My actual take on this is that, see, Orry, we love you, okay? Because you like that reel. But you have to clarify.
Yeah.
But other than that, Orry, I must say that I was very disappointed that you voted for Trump. That pissed me off more than you drinking alcohol. Because, come on, dude, come on. Trump, seriously. So I want people to reflect on what they are hating. Like there are so many other better things to hate in a person.
So your take is that we should dislike Orry for other reasons,
Other
but not
reasons.
this.
Yeah, not for this.
Okay.
I mean, sure for this, but like this is
Sure.
just illegal stuff, right? Like, okay, just punish him for that. Like,
Hmm.
what's the take? Like, this is just legal stuff. Like, he breaks the law, okay, whatever. Pay the fine. Move on.
No, fair enough. But like,
Discuss the personality.
I just have 2 perspectives on it. One is whataboutery, which I will only admit, which is like, what if he was Muslim and he did this? The reaction would just be a bit. Yeah, I'm just saying.
You
That
think
would
it
be
would
like
be
so
more
much.
like
Of
Arnab-
course, dude.
Yeah, of course.
He would not have like, I don't think. This is chill only.
This
They
is
don't know
chill.
if they'll arrest him or not. Some people are calling him out or
It's
whatever.
ambiguity.
Yeah, this is like generic, like bigda hua bacha type this thing, which is fine.
Fair.
So religion, privilege,
Hmm.
which Orry is protected by. That's one. The second thing is that after the whole latent thing, and especially after the reaction of TV channels to latent,
Yeah.
I really feel like these guys prioritize it as stories because all of these folks have followers. So like they
Yeah.
are definitely thinking that if we do this, people will watch
Hmm.
our show. What do you think Nikhil's monologue on this would be?
See, we need to. You just go like, Kevin, we really need to. So he just monologues like this. Whatever it is, the influencers are really coming in the limelight because of this is a business. You need to understand this is a business. And Arnab, whether Arnab is talking about this, someone else is talking about it, we need to understand that there's a reason why this is happening. And whatever, dude, I can't do it.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just mimicking the actions.
Yeah.
I can't actually say what you would have called it.
BTS video is going to him. Okay, cool. Number 2, which is a more serious story.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it is serious, but we don't have a serious take.
Smile off my face.
Sunita Williams, non-Indian astronaut, is back to Earth after 9 months, which is
Yeah.
great news.
Yeah.
We don't have takes on space because we're not space experts, clearly. But if you were stuck in space for 9 months, do you think you'd have a good time?
Okay, so I actually have thoughts on this.
Wow. Okay, Sunita Williams, nuanced space opinion coming from you.
I don't have a nuanced opinion. I thought about this. So I, as you know, I'm obsessed with like stargazing and just looking at the moon and those kind of things. So I have been saying this since I was a little kid that I want to go to the space. I want to, at least like basic, I want to go to the moon. Like itna to banta hai na, moon tak to bhej do yaar. But then while coming to office, I was just going through the news and I saw that Neil deGrasse Tyson has made a comment where he said that he doesn't feel any sympathy for Sunita coming back after 9 months because he was like, yeah, this is fine, right? Like these people are not just like mentally and physically trained, they're also like emotionally really like stable people. And I was like,
you need emotions?
I was like, attack. Like if I were in space, dude, I would lose it. I'm not an emotionally stable person at all. Like even with my antidepressants and everything, I'm not emotionally stable. Like, and without Instagram, like, who would I need to rant. Like I would just die.
What stories would you put up?
Forget stories. Like what would I do? What would I do on like? I think I'm. So I thought that shit. I don't think Neil would like if I went to space and I got stuck. He'd just be like, no, she's not emotionally stable. What's your take on it?
I don't have like a nuanced take on it. That
Don't
makes
do
two
this.
of us.
Good.
I feel like I'd be fine if I had video games, honestly. I'm anyway avoidant. And you take me 9 months, like no phone calls and stuff. I'd be good. Nice. I'd get lonely, of course. But it would kind of be like COVID. In a way, like if like lockdown extended for that much time. Obviously saying this with no idea of what it's like to be there. Course, and it's like you can't brush your teeth normally, you can't poop normally. Just like things to consider.
Fair.
Gravity, I'm guessing, is important. We don't know how much we take it for granted.
We take it for granted.
It really keeps us grounded. But my take on this is actually that I've just loved the memes.
I was gonna say the memes are too funny.
This funny meme and we have to find it at some point, but it's a photo. She got back and she's like talking to her family and stuff, so there's a photo of Sunita Williams with the phone. First call she got when she came back to Earth is from Bajaj Finance telling her that she's been pre-approved for a loan. Stupid. The internet is undefeated.
But she's not Indian, so what are the policies for like
wow.
like
wow. 3 things left. More serious things, Garima. Now I'm putting you on the spot because this is something you had like strong opinions on your Instagram, which if people aren't following, you should follow. So Garima, you've already ranted about this on your Instagram. Urban Company rolled out a service to be able to hire domestic workers within 15 minutes. You were upset about some part of it. So I wanted to understand why.
Okay, so usually we were discussing this. Usually when I'm very angry about something, I'm not very coherent. So I'm going to try and make sense of my emotions. But my main issue with this 15-minute delivery culture is that it promotes a lot of entitled behavior amongst, especially like our class. And it just encourages it to the point where we have absolutely no regard for someone's life. Forget work-life balance, which is like, we don't have regard for anyone's work-life balance, even if they're employees. It's just that the way this culture sort of, see, this is, I can't like, when you get so comfortable with convenience, right? Where you start thinking that it is your right to demand services within 15 minutes, there is a basic massive loss of empathy that is taking place, which I think people don't realize. It's on a very fundamental level which is happening because if this becomes the norm, and it has already become the norm with so many delivery apps which deliver under like, and that's the thing, right? Like they deliver in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and if they deliver quicker, they brag about it. They say that, this was supposed to get delivered in 9 minutes, we delivered it in 7 minutes. Chill. Like it's fine. Take your time. Because, and we've seen this, the way that these workers are treated. Their working conditions are terrible. I'm also trying to think that what is the kind of pressure they're operating under if this is a KRA for them, right? Like you have to deliver things within a certain amount of time. There are so many. Is it safe to kind of just for these people to be roaming around in the city with like these kind of deadlines hanging over their head? Climate, right? Like that's, and again, I'm not saying that this is something that I can change. I'm not for even 1 minute saying that, oh, because I have stopped ordering things from these apps, I'm affecting the climate anyway, because it's a larger conversation. These are decisions that need to be taken by bigger MNCs for sure. But at some level, the more we give into the system, the more we are encouraging people to kind of, right, to come up with more solutions which harm the environment even more. So that's my thing. And I think my anger mainly comes from this point where I have sat in rooms with my peers where they have complained about these things that, oh, our domestic worker didn't show up today for XYZ reasons. And I'm sorry, I cannot participate in this conversation because you need to understand that when you have to apply for a leave 15 days in advance in your workplace, you are working in an organized sector. I'm sorry, there's a huge difference. That's an unorganized sector. The problems that they deal with, I will not even get into that because I don't know what the kind of problems they deal with. So, firstly, you have no understanding of the kind of lives they lead. And on top of that, now you have to sit and complain with your equally privileged friend that, oh, they didn't show up and now I have to kind of do things for myself. I'm like, what kind of culture is this? Where something as basic as cooking for yourself or like cleaning after yourselves is something you can't meet. Like, it's like, oh my God, like I have so much work. Why do you have so much work? Like this is, I know, I'm also aware that again, these conversations they can't be had in isolation. I can't be like, oh, just go up to your boss and be like, but I mean, think about it, for a second, that why is it that your job demands so much of your time that you're not left with like bare minimum time for yourself? What kind of world, and we cater to this world. We encourage this lifestyle. We give into this lifestyle more and more and more. I'm like, yeah, fine. Yeah, sure. You need something else? Like, sure. It makes me angry only because I have to sit through these conversations with my friends where they just, where I see the entitlement getting more and more inflated by the day. And I'm like, guys, like, isn't it enough that we already have help? Like, can't we just be grateful and like shut up? Like, do we need to push the bar even more? So
it's actually such an interesting point of view coming from like out of the other things that you mentioned, this sense of entitlement. And I love that your first reaction is like an emotional reaction to that, to just be like, do we not have enough? Like, do we really need this? Which is really nice. I'll try to like compartmentalize some of the stuff that you said, because I think you've made all the points, just like to kind of separate it and give my thoughts also.
Yeah, I gave a monologue.
Yeah,
so
good.
Thank you.
Nikhil, who?
Nikhil, are you proud? Yeah.
I think my first reaction to it was not as visceral as yours. I was not angry. Like, I feel like my compartmentalized this thing was just kind of like, look, there is a demand-supply gap. People need domestic workers. I also heard a lot of people complain about like not having domestic workers. And my first thought was that if this is a better system for them, where instead of like you mentioned, they're all in the unorganized sector, this is somewhat like a semi-organized structure where, depending on the fine print, urban companies giving them some rights or some sort of platform where they can aggregate or, just more power. Because right now, the way that it happens, and even in privileged societies, the way that it happens is if a new tenant moves in, they will ask the watchman or they will ask like neighbors to say that who is the domestic worker, and then a background check is done one way. When you're hiring a domestic worker, you take their Aadhaar and you're just like like, for example, you put up cameras in your house or whatever. All of that is done. But there is no system that is protecting the domestic worker. What if like you turn out to be an asshole? What if you are just
and
like...
you are. Like, most of the times it's you who's the asshole.
Yeah, so what if you are being like exploitative? What are their rights? They have no rights, right? The only thing they can do is quit. And that's also hard to do because they're living hand to mouth. And a lot of them come from households that have other problems like alcoholic husbands or, having to raise kids, having to put them through school, or not having agency to kind of decide what they want to do with their money. So my first thought was that if this is something that gives them more power, then I'm all for it, because I don't think that domestic worker culture or entitlement culture really is going to change in India. I feel like we've opened that Pandora's box. There are now companies just catering. I absolutely agree with you on the quick commerce bit that we should not be competing for groceries in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I think it was Blinkit that announced that they would also try to do ambulances really fast. That I'm still like is a need, because if you try to get an ambulance, I was talking briefly earlier about Radhika's uncle having a heart attack. It took them an hour to get an ambulance.
Oh, damn.
And like a lot of people don't survive because it's hard to get ambulances, even in Bombay, which is again one of the more financially advanced cities in our country. So I feel like there are other pressing needs that can be sorted out. I don't like that there's so much focus on convenience.
Yes.
That's a bit like, I agree with you there, right? But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that that's going away anymore, because when I was growing up, the understanding was that if you call your Kirana store and order for something, there's no accountability on how much time it will take. It could take 1 hour, it could take 3 hours. So you are only calling and asking for stuff that is not urgent, right? This whole culture which has spoiled us that like, okay, you're making pasta and you realize that you don't have olives, so you just Zepto it and it comes in like 7 minutes or whatever. While it also sickens me to some level that we've come to this point. And my house has like a blanket ban on this stuff because Radhika loves the environment a lot. Yeah, so we don't order stuff largely at all. But I feel like for other people, there's so much of a proposition in that. And I've just seen that unfortunately the world always leans towards convenience. It's the reason why we have like an Ola and Uber. It's the reason why we have a Zomato and Swiggy. It's a reason why we have OTT platforms also. Like the fundamental need is not even the fact that your food will come in, for example, with a Zomato or Swiggy. It's not that your food will come in 30 minutes or whatever. It's like, I don't want to even decide which restaurant I'm going to order from. Like, in the sense that you will open and it will show you your reorders. Like that part of it, I feel like doesn't get enough attention. Like the way that is curated to ease your decision-making process, right? You're just looking at reviews, stars, this thing, like other people order from here, it's good enough. That wasn't there earlier. And I feel like that's a dangerous combination. So yeah, I agree with you. But my takeaway would still be that if it's better for more people in the unorganized sector, and with Urban Company, the place I will give them benefit of doubt is anybody who has come to my house during COVID. We were getting like haircuts done from folks at Urban Company because everybody had to come home, plumbers, electricians, etc. The way that it's always worked with me is they come home and then I take the number separately. Then I'm like, I want to pay you a little bit and I want to ensure that it's going to you and you don't have to deal with this. And Urban Company knows that that's happening and they've been okay with that. So if it leads to a better life and more rights for these folks, then I'm all for it. But I also understand where that anger is coming from. And I think that that's an important self-check to do as well. Okay. Number 4 of our Jaldi 5.
Okay.
I've forgotten. Oh, yeah, okay. This is an interesting one because we were going to do a full episode on this. Yeah. And then we ended up talking about misses. We were talking about invisible labor and patriarchy. This is kind of related to that. Dhanushree-'s alimony has been revealed. There's obviously been like a lot of back and forth about this case for the last year. She's been slut-shamed a lot. And then she was being called a gold digger because there was some rumor that she's demanding 60 crores in alimony. Now, because of legal proceedings, Bar and Bench, I think, reported earlier that the alimony amount in total is about 4.75 crores. It's not changed much because she's still getting trolled. She's still being called a gold digger. And now at the same time, people are praising Yuzi-Chahal to say that that's not bad. You got away easy. You've only gotten away with 4 crores.
Good job, bro.
Obviously, like, I mean, I don't have anything against him. I feel like all my problems in this case are about the narrative and the way that the internet has kind of picked it up. But I'm also just angry that there is really no winning for women in this scenario. It's like, we were talking about it earlier and you said that even if she got 0 rupees in alimony, she'd still be trolled. She's getting 4.75 crores, she's still being trolled. She gets 60 crores, she's still being trolled. There is no like, what is the recourse in the public eye for women getting divorced in India? I don't think it exists. And even for women who are still married to like Anushka Sharma will still get trolled anytime Virat Kohli does anything. So, your thoughts?
I'm not going to lie. I think I was having a bit of a dilemma where I was like, I don't know what the correct stance is. Because she is someone who is established and everything. And I know you can you will counter with actual facts, which is great, because I'm only looking at it in terms of like gender politics, right? If you want to humor this argument where sure, she could have she can fend for herself, so she didn't really need the money, which is okay, whatever. My issue is with the way this case is being perceived, because when you talk about alimony, you obviously only get to hear about the celebrity cases. You're not really focusing on the day-to-day alimony cases, right? So now when you only focus on celebrity cases, what happens is that you start, the reason you get emotionally invested is because you think that this could happen to you someday. And to that is just, I'm like, lol, no, it won't. Because, okay, even if it does, okay, let's just I'm going to slowly remove all the filters from this, right? And then kind of make my point, because, okay, sure, let's assume that you have gotten a divorce, okay? My issue is the people who are against this alimony thing, right, are the same people who also look for partners who are going to help them build a home. And when I say that, I literally mean they are going to, if they're allowed to work, let's say allowed, then they should also be cognizant of the household chores, the effort that they're putting into it. Let's assume that you have a woke man, okay, who doesn't expect the woman to sort of contribute in household chores, and she's also earning, he's also earning. Let's assume they have a kid, okay. There is still this layer where even if the woman wants to work, it is very difficult, because the corporate systems are such that there is a lot of sexism you have to fight at work. You don't get promotions after you get pregnant. There's a certain lens with which people look at you. So while the man continues to make progress in his career and continues to earn a stable income with a stable raise, the woman, she still loses. Even if marginally she is losing. So my whole thing is that even if we take the best case scenario, even in that scenario, you need to, and now I feel like coming back to the point of why is alimony a thing, right? Alimony is a thing because so much of this invisible labor is not accounted for in homes, right? So when you are someone who is putting in so much, you're building a home for your family, while the man continues to, earn the bread. In a lot of cases, either you're not working, or for whatever reason, your career growth is not at par with the man, which is why when you get a divorce, it's that much more difficult. And it's the number of women who go back to work after getting a divorce is very, very less in India. And even internationally, like globally, the number is really low. So the point is that alimony this whole system is in place to kind of compensate for that. And that's the thing, right? Now people are just like, oh, but women are earning now. They are empowered enough, right? And I'm just like, I literally sat with a friend 2 days back who was very, very empowered, very, very woke, in a happy marriage. She is cribbing about this thing. So I don't know, like, dude, things have not changed as much as you would like to assume they've changed.
Of course,
which is why this conversation is so complicated, because sure, you can look at one example as a celebrity example and be very upset about it, but don't try and equate your life struggles with a celebrity couple, because he can afford to pay that much. Nobody's asking you for that kind of alimony. And that's the thing, you begin to cherry pick when these celebrity cases happen. You are just like, oh, this is exactly what happens. Women are marrying for money. Nobody's marrying you for money. You don't have money. When you have money, then you worry about this problem. Then paying alimony also won't be a problem. She's like, whatever, change for you. Petty cash. Stop. Just.
Oh man. So much to unpack here. I think
Another one in my bag.
Good job.
Thank you. I feel like we should do this KBC thing. Like,
just put a counter, like a graphic. Okay, lots to unpack here. I think first is related to alimony in general, right? And like you said, I feel like there are lots of men who, at least online, are saying that we need to talk about this because people don't talk about men being affected by these problems. So I'll state that as a disclaimer from the beginning only. I'm not saying that there are zero women who are marrying for money or who are
Definitely not.
trying to get higher amounts of alimony. But it is factually true that India has alimony laws which are much more friendly to men as compared to other countries in the world. India doesn't have an assumption that 50% of whatever the man owns is going to go to the spouse who he's divorcing. India says that it can either be a one-time settlement, a permanent alimony, or it can be monthly. If it's a monthly thing, then an important factor is if you have kids or expenses that you can't do. And as you said, it not just compensates the woman for emotional labor or invisible labor that she's done throughout the course of the marriage. It also very interestingly factors in and says that she has not spent this time pursuing her career. So it's also opportunity cost that you could have been spending this time doing this. There have been cases before where the court has been very public and told women who are seeking high amounts of alimony that this is not going to happen. There was a case I was reading about 10 or 11 months ago where a woman was asking for, I think, 6 lakhs monthly as alimony, out of which 3 lakhs was some physiotherapy and there was 60,000 for food and some amount for shopping and stuff. And the court outright kind of said, look, no, that's not going to happen. The court has shot down these kind of cases in the past. That's the reason we have a judicial system. And that's the reason we don't do an automatic assumption that you're just going to get 50% of the amounts. So the system works, right? It's not to say that cases don't happen, but if you can trust the court to uphold it one way, then you also have to trust them the other way. So that's one overall point. The second thing is on celebrity culture and why this becomes a big deal. In this particular case, we don't know what the details are, right? It can be assumed that Yuzi-Chahal also has a good lawyer who's arguing and saying that this is not this thing. And for whatever reason, she's asking for money. We don't know why she might be asking for money. We don't know what the family angle is. We are judging based on the things that we know. So I'm seeing a lot of tweets online that just say, hey, they were only married for 4 years, out of which 2.5 years they were living separately. They don't even have a kid. So why does she need alimony?
What if she has a kid on the way?
Wow.
Should we spread this rumor?
No, I don't think that's the angle to take. But
okay, voice of reason.
My point is that you don't know, right? All you're saying is that they're going to court and they're talking about it.
They're going to court wearing a very cool t-shirt.
Oh, we should talk about that, actually. We should. So today, which is the day when we're filming this, where the final thing of the divorce proceedings came out, Yuzvendra-Chahal wore a t-shirt that said... Be your own sugar daddy. Be your own sugar daddy. Yeah, it's a statement.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I mean, sure, I have nothing, that's the thing. This case is so unique because I don't dislike either of them. I'm not siding with either of them. I just think it's so interesting that so many people have chosen to come out in support of him. And I hope he realizes that these are not real fans. These are fans of misogyny who are happening to align themselves with him because right now he's standing for this. Yeah. The last thing that we have is actually not really a very newsy thing. It just happens to be exam season. We have a lot of young people writing different types of exams. So I wanted to discuss with you what type of exam student were you? And if you had tips to give young people, again, not from a place of any sort of expertise, but just to say that we've been through that phase and we've grown past it.
Have we?
My first question is actually
do you still get dreams?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I do. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You go.
Telepathy. Yeah. No, I still get, I don't wake up sweating or anything, but I still get dreams that I'm writing my exam and, the time is up or different aspects of exam season, right? I haven't prepared, some other exam is happening. So all of that shit still happens.
It's it's so weird because I feel like...
My dadi still gets exam dreams. So it's never going to go away.
It's never going away.
You're dying with it.
And it's quite stressful. You should keep in for your parents.
Why am I like this?
Dude,
Sorry.
It's so weird that we did this podcast called Dear Teenage Me, and the whole idea of it is that you write a letter to your teenage self. And a lot of the advice that people give is like now it seems really stressful, but once you grow up, you'll see and be like, oh, it actually wasn't that stressful after all. I feel like exams are stressful.
They were.
Yeah, because when I have nightmares also, it's a lot worse sometimes than even being CEO of a company. Like I would say that
Whoa.
like
Okay.
when I'm in that dream and I'm in that situation versus say me having a dream about work drama, I'm much more scared in that situation.
But I
Yeah.
have thoughts on this. I do think I mean I'm what, like I'm going to be 28 in a couple of months. So I do think I have, like, I can talk about it like as, okay, when we
As
were
an old
younger.
person, yeah.
No, like
Welcome. I've been waiting for some time. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that I think when you are sitting for your boards, you're how old, like 15, 16,
Yeah.
17, you're in that not even late teenage, right? Like this is
Yeah.
middle teenage.
Your 10th boards, you're saying?
Whatever, 10th to 12th, right?
Yeah.
Like 15 to 17 is the age you're sitting for your boards. I have, whatever I have gone through, and I could have gone through worse things after that in life. And I'm not just saying academically, like whatever I have gone through, I still consider that the worst things that I have gone through, even though worse things have happened after that. Why? Because of a simple logic is that when you're going through those things, that's the first time you're going through something.
That's true.
Right? So you think this is the end. Like life is never going to get better because you have no blueprint. You have nothing to like say that, oh, things do get better, because you have no idea that things get better. And which is why it feels like doomsday. It feels like this is overdue, like I'm going to die like this. And it's the worst feel. Like I don't have any empathy for the decisions I've made in my early 20s. Dumb bitch. But the decisions I've made as, or not even decisions, like the things that I've gone through, the reactions I've had to situations when I was a teenager, massive empathy. Like, because I did not know better. I had no idea what life is, how life can get better, and I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the tools to communicate. I didn't have the vocabulary to communicate what I was going through. And I mean, that's a separate episode because I was going through a lot emotionally. No tools, no way to know that it gets better. Now I know it gets better. Now I know that life is full of ups and downs. Now it's a given. I know that, today I'm going through a down. It'll last like whatever, give or take 3-4 months. Or 3-4 years. Wow. But it'll get better eventually. And I can talk to my friends. I can now openly have conversations. At that age, you think that, oh, I'm the only one going through this. So there's a lot of stigma around actually having open conversations with your friends and everything. And now that we sit and talk, like when our friends talk, we're like, oh shit, like, yeah, even I was going through like terrible times back then. But we never spoke about it. All we used to talk about was like, oh, which entrance exam are you sitting for? And
not to give advice to anybody who is going in for their exams, but just to say that it'll be okay regardless. It's not the end of the world for sure. I think that should be the line that we draw and say it's definitely not the end of the world. But also everybody who you know is also going through this in some way. So you should talk to people. You should not feel isolated. I feel like that is like a really big problem. That at that point you don't, even if it's so weird because there are literally like thousands of people who are writing exams at the same time. But because everybody's dealing with their own shit, you feel like you don't want to burden somebody else by talking about how you're feeling. Okay. Like you don't want to go to a friend and be like, bro, I am so stressed. What is my, because you know that they are probably thinking the same thing and you don't want to set them off. Which is why I think it's so isolating, and parents are not going to understand. Even if parents are chill, you can't go to your parents like the day before the exam and just be like, I'm going to fail, my life is over. I don't think they are emotionally equipped to handle it.
I've had breakdowns.
Yeah,
for sure.
With your parents?
Yeah.
And how did they like respond to it?
Like, it's fine, chill.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as I've said this many, many times in this podcast, I'm currently unemployed. So I'm actually thinking about this. So I was just talking to my therapist about this, and I was like, yeah, I've been like, been working since I've had a job. But I was like, hold on a second. Just because now it's just considered mental stress when you begun work. But that's not true, because I then went back, like in college also I was doing like 3 internships in one go, and I was overworking myself, and I had like exams and like college stuff going on, and I was very active, like even in college, not very active but decently active in college stuff. And I was like, hold on, like I have very vivid memories of having breakdowns even like in school, where I was like, oh shit, like I can't do this, like I have so many tuitions, and I was overworked even in school. I was like, I in 11th and 12th I did Kathak, I did karate, I had physics, chemistry, maths, economics tuitions on top of like school. So I have not had a moment to breathe since I was maybe like 15. And I just, like I feel like a lot of people only equate mental, like they only consider it mental stress once they're maybe adults or once they actually start earning money or whatever, I'm just like, no, like it's valid because that stress, again, as I said, like it was so, it's in my DNA, like it's embedded so deep in my system that it's very vivid memories I have of like having breakdowns in the washroom and my friends were like, it's okay. Like, no, it's not okay. I can't do this. So, yeah, it was really stressful.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like, so you've given tips. No? I don't have to do that. But yeah, I'm just saying that
this is the biggest tip, that
empathize.
it is stressful. Yeah, it is stressful. Even people who are much older are still like dealing with nightmares, etc. about it. So clearly it is like, let's not like downplay it and say it's nothing. It is like a big deal. You're right to be stressed about it, but also like find people to talk to. I think that's important as well.
Sure.
And best of luck for your exams. If you're still watching this, then God, you should study.
Yeah.
But in
No,
case
it's
you are,
fine.
okay.
We spoke about relevant issues. What if they have a GK test?
You want to talk about your GK test?
No.
Okay.
You want to talk about
No,
it?
I'm
I feel
good.
like he wants to talk about my GK test.
I'm good. You don't have to.
We don't have to.
Before we end this long winding episode about multiple things, which was supposed to be the shortest episode that we do, we'll see how it turns out on edit. Before we go, anything that you're hopeful about?
No.
What is your bud? No.
Sorry,
Wow.
it's kind of pressure.
Just, what do you mean? You know that this is, you're not prepared.
What prepared, but I thought about it. Okay. There is.
Okay.
So, I do aerial yoga, and there is a showcase happening in May, which I've signed up for. So I'm very excited about that. And this is going to be my second showcase. So the first one I was very rusty, and I don't think I did a very good job. Even though for people who don't know aerial yoga, it looks very nice, but I know like people who do aerial yoga, it's just like garbage. Like you got to practice more. But I'm excited, and I really like performing. You know, like also like I like performing in day-to-day life. Also, like if I'm talking to you, I'm mostly performing only because I've probably prepped the conversation in my head. I do this like when I go. I don't know why am I. Sorry, but yeah, I like performing, so I'm excited. That's my bud. That's what I'm hopeful about.
That's a good bud. Best of luck.
Yeah, what's your bud?
What I'm really excited about is having a weekend.
Not traveling. I was going to say.
I have no plans this weekend,
Nice.
which is great.
Congrats.
I've been writing down all of the stuff that I've been doing every weekend, just to remind myself that I do a lot of things on weekends, mostly for other people.
Oh.
This weekend I have nothing planned, so I'm looking forward to just chill, play video games, enjoy it.
Best.
Need some time of nothing. Vegetating time is very, very important. And I shout out to Radhika, who has preemptively cancelled plans for me.
Wow.
Plans are getting made and she's just like, Kevin's working. So she's already drawn that boundary.
But now people don't watch the podcast and they don't know you were lying.
No. The people who I'm avoiding don't watch the podcast. And definitely not this deep into the podcast. Thank you as
Try a comedy
always,
set.
Garima. We have to navigate a few weeks of Nikhil not being here. I don't think we did a terrible job. But I don't think we did a great job also.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like he really anchors it, you know.
But we are like fun people.
If you like this episode, thank you firstly for sticking it out to the end. So follow So What by Yuva on Instagram if you're not already doing that. We also have a Substack that I write occasionally, hoping to write this week. I've been complimented and somebody told me I'm a good writer, so now I'm more motivated to do it. So check that out if you haven't already. This episode is also available on all audio platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. So if you prefer to listen as opposed to watching our faces, then that's an option that you have.
That's
I'm
offensive.
not saying it's
offensive.
I'm not saying it's a better option, but it is an option. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to We Are Yuva on all social media platforms.